going on, everybody? Don't worry. Hey, we're all okay, guys. Don't worry about it. We are okay. I know things look crazy right now over the past 24 hours, but we're doing okay. If you guys are new to this stream, guys, my name is Tank. This is the IBC Gang YouTube channel. We talk about everything that's happening in the traditional market as well as the crypto market with a specific interest and focus within the Cosmos ecosystem, obviously, right? IBC Gang YouTube channel. Before we jump on into everything, if you guys would help me grow by doing the supportive right thing, click that little like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, let everybody know that we are actually live right now. We're going to be talking about a bunch of things, yeah, I'm going to just cut to the chase and get into it because we have some special guests. Before I do, here's the link on Twitter for you guys to retweet. Please retweet that. And everybody that's in the channel right now, what's going on, Matt? What's up, Striker? IBC Mafia, Triple Moon, Name, Rama, of course, Chad, Rocking Ape, Dave, Blue, Fritz, what's going on, everybody? Let everybody know. Let your mama, your auntie, your sister, your cousin, your brother, the person that you work with that you don't like, let them know as well to come subscribe, because the more people that see these videos, the more people that get exposure to the Cosmos ecosystem. So that means it's kind of like a win-win, right? Because you're getting exposure to your own bags as well. So do everybody a favor, guys. Let's go ahead and jump on into it, guys. I have some guests. Yeah, I have some Jacob with me and Rama with me, guys. We're going to be talking about what happened with Osmosis. I know all of you guys are running around on crypto Twitter and want to know or get some insight on what's happening and what happened. So first and foremost, I would say good morning to both of you guys, but I know it's much later. How are you guys doing today? Rama, Jacob.
Users and to our customers who are basically blockchains as well.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited. When I saw Rama on the Slack, I was like, ooh, so happy to be aboard. Such a great team and such, yeah. I don't actually.
Quickly jump in if I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
People can't hear us apparently.
Yeah, I just fixed that. While
Awesome.
while in mid speech there. Apologies, guys. So yeah, I do want to get into all of that, Jacob, but right now I think what most people actually really want to talk about, and I'll forego my giddiness
Is
of
Osmosis.
is Osmosis. Yeah. So Ram and I were talking about earlier, but Jacob, I'll let you chime in first. Kind of, if you don't mind, break down what happened overnight. What are we dealing with right now?
So there was a bug in the version 9 upgrade of Osmosis. And actually, like, one of the things that we had to manually check, and Rama was a personal part of checking, was did this bug exist in prior versions of Osmosis? And so what he ended up doing was checking. Look, there are some bots on Osmosis that do some pretty crazy stuff on the regular, right? And so I'd say that probably the first step for him was digging through some transactions on V8 that are like mildly bizarre but real. I usually refer to these as looping, okay? And what a looping transaction will do, I guess in normal crypto parlance, looping involves loans and like increasing your leverage in a loop pattern, but I'm not talking about that. On Osmosis, when I refer to looping, I'm usually referring to a single transaction that routes through multiple pools, and it arbs out differences typically in the price of Osmo, but it could be differences in the price of any asset, okay? Technically, these transactions are a healthy thing. And so sort of the first step of verifying what occurred was making sure that this didn't happen in earlier versions of Osmosis, and indeed it didn't. So like, Rama, maybe you can give a little context to people on, the enormity of the difference between, say, like looping transactions in Osmo V8 and then the 5 major exploitative accounts that you identified for V9.
Yeah, so I might kind of take it back a step so people can understand kind of how I went about identifying the particular transactions that kind of led me to the main wallets, and that also led me to they look like R bots or loop bots, whatever we want to call them. Really cool thing out in the ecosystem again. DEX Screener, a nice application that actually gives you access to a lot of DEXs out on the crypto space. Luckily enough for us, there's a nice Osmosis tab in there, and it actually breaks down each of the Osmo pools that we have available, gives us the current price, how many transactions, volume, etc., and you can do some nice filtering. It was highlighted to me when I kind of posted out that the chain had halted, that there seemed to be a bug exploiting pool number 1. So I went straight to DEX Screener, clicked on pool number 1, and input a filter that gave me the largest buy or sell transactions in that pool. I immediately clicked on the transaction link in it, which takes me to MintScan. Looked at that transaction, went to the wallet, and noticed that there was about 2 hours or an hour or two worth of simply entering and exiting pools, and their dollar value and token value that they were getting every time they entered and exited was increasing significantly, as well as a large amount of withdrawal transactions of Atom. So obviously straight away that kind of confirmed that yes, there was a bug, because you shouldn't be able to enter and exit a single pool within a few seconds and get out 2 or 3 or 5x the amount of tokens.
So again, so what he's saying, guys, just because I've seen a lot of people misunderstand what actually happened. This wasn't like a direct malicious attack. Yes, it was malicious after they found the bug, but anybody could have done this. Anybody could have done this. This wasn't like the version or the upgrade exposed a vulnerability and somebody maliciously went through that little hole and like ripped it open. This was something, well, I guess that is similar, but it is something that anybody could have done if you guys were just swapping in and out and not bonding. Go ahead, Ram. I just wanted to make sure.
It was loose like a wizard's sleeve.
Yeah, it's unusual user interaction, right? No one enters and exits a pool 3 or 4 times without bonding or swapping to another asset, as an example. These people knew what they were doing. They intentionally did it on repeat to significantly get a financial advantage.
Oh, yeah, the offending accounts? I mean, definitely. Yeah. So there were a few outliers that very clearly were exploiting. But there is a question, and I want to say this out loud. I want people to hear this. There's a question: did these people do anything illegal or even unethical? And I don't know the answer to that question. And I would need to actually, probably after this call, I'm going to do what I need to do, which is have a sleep, clear my head a bit, and maybe then I'll have some kind of a concrete answer to that. They knew what the hell they were doing, but there is, I mean, okay, we got Billy the Brit.
I mean, my thoughts are, and obviously they're just my thoughts. Illegal, I would say probably no. Unethical, I think. I mean, yeah, people knew what they were doing and they knew it was screwing over everyone else.
That's basically what
it is. I don't think they would have done anything illegal, because if the bug was
platform
there,
functionality, right?
I would kind of think so, yeah. I think
like,
that wouldn't.
Unfortunately for Osmosis DEX, using the platform as a normal user, you inherently got a financial advantage. Doing it on repeat meant that you got a significant financial advantage. So they didn't necessarily exploit the application in a malicious way, because they didn't execute specific code that meant that they could do it and no one else could.
See,
right.
I think it was malicious, but maybe not illegal. Most hacking laws are written under, I mean, the exact terminology, at least in the United States, is gains unauthorized access. I I hesitate to claim that they were doing that.
Okay, say an ATM spits out loads of notes for no reason. Does that constitute a hack on the ATM, or is that because if someone
Well,
takes
it
that money
depends.
and
Am
doesn't
I
declare it?
making it do that? And you know, furthermore, if I go to the ATM, I ask for $500, but it gives me $10,000. Is that Jacob's fault? You know, we've now entered serious gray zone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think the other side of it is when I was looking for the to see the scale of the attack and the volume. I can't really call it attack, the bug and the volume of wallets. I obviously stumbled across quite a large number of wallets that looked like they had taken part. The primary difference was that they don't actually execute join and exit pool transactions. They actually just do swap in transactions that goes across multiple pools. And those ones are easily identifiable as the kind of looping or arb bots that Jacob was
Yeah,
talking about.
those are, you know, they're just sort of equalizing the value throughout the pools. Now, those
Mm.
bots were really harmful during, you know, the Terra fiasco, but you know, I strongly hesitate to say that they ever did anything illegal, or even unethical for that matter. However, repeat offenders on entry and exit during the time of this bug, they probably were doing something unethical. I don't necessarily think there's any recourse here.
Yeah.
And
I
you know,
was also saying,
look,
just
as a
to kind of
validator,
interrupt.
yeah. What's up?
I was saying earlier to Tank that this will probably have, depending on the market currently, outside of the Osmosis DEX, looks quite positive for Osmo at the moment. There will be a nice arb opportunity on Osmo DEX when the chain comes back online, because there will be coins on there that are significantly cheaper because of the liquidity that was taken out. So the arb bots and users may look to kind of come in, and that would potentially equal out the amount of liquidity that was lost. So in terms of people losing money, it may end up just being equaled out, right? Some people got some financial gain. The arb
I
bots may
gotta
come in and equal
disagree.
out the pools. We don't know.
What I saw when similar stuff happened with Terra, was it was pretty permanent. Guys, like, look, the first 80% decline in Dig, and guys, you know, be very, very direct. Dig is a somewhat unsuccessful, financially speaking, token that Notional Labs helped to create and incubate, and it's, you know, it's got its own chain and everything, and it's for trading in real estate. And the first 80% decline was basically Dig's fault via like malinvestment. Allow me to explain. Our malinvestment was in the Ukrainian market. We invested very, very heavily in Ukraine pre-war. And the way that that happened was that, well, you know, 3 months pre-war, no one had any effing clue there'd be a war in Ukraine. But what we did know is that Ukraine had passed the world's absolute best crypto legislation, bar none, and it made what we wanted to do with Dig entirely, completely, legally, free and clear, white, not gray, white. And so we did it. And I, you know, when speaking to the community, I also want people to know I signed off on that decision. Adam and I are effectively co-founders in Dig. And the first 80% in decline in Dig's price came from that. But the second 80%, that came from Terra. It might have been 90%, guys. It was really bad. And the way that that happened Okay, you know those looping transactions I was talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Well, those looping transactions played a huge part in Dig's price decline. And I don't want to get into matters of fairness or unfairness because Osmosis, the exchange, functioned perfectly. Okay. Its pools did exactly what they were supposed to do. And frankly, the ARB bots, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. The ARB bots were attempting to earn Osmo. Okay, so they favored Osmo over Dig in the Dig Osmo pair, right? So they would execute these trades that began in Osmo, had a midpoint in Dig, and then ended up again in Osmo. And anytime the Dig Osmo pair overvalued Osmo, those bots would kick into play. And I guess I'm tempering enthusiasm on the idea that asset prices may recover to a fair value rapidly, just because, yeah, I mean that hurt and it continues to.
Yeah, I got it is in the past, but I just want to say, when I look back at that, Jacob, I mean, that was who would have known that, 3 months or whatever time frame after you guys did that would have, war would have broke out. I mean, maybe if you would have been inside somewhere in Russia, you would have known that. But if you guys don't know, like, Ukraine is really rich in a lot of different things, and also like just their legislation is like set up like Jacob was saying, in a very, very, at that time, like bullish. I would have done it, like, so I don't fault you for that, but yeah, it is unfortunate. It is kind of up in there. I'll be honest with you, I'm 50-50. I hate to say that, but I kind of see what Rama's saying. I also see what you're saying, Jacob, as a very conservative investor and trader. It's kind of hard to look at the current situation. I do, like I was asking Rama, like, my biggest question is, okay, so where do we go from here? And what do you guys think is going to be the actions from the team? We can just speculate, which is kind of bad, but.
I don't want to speculate. I want to kind of take a leading stance. As a validator, I would promote, and openly so, the community fund being used to rectify what occurred. I am aware that currently, especially users in pool 1, but possibly users in other pools, have been adversely affected. And I think that the best way to proceed forward is to take the work of people like Rarma, people like Hathor Nodes. It seemed to me that Hathor Nodes was really early in identifying the bug. I think he was the first one to post about it in the Validators Discord.
Okay.
And I can say why. I know that he was awake. I know that because I was helping him with his validator until my 5:30 a.m. That's when I got off the phone with him. I assume that he was working on his node, got it back up, and maybe was the individual who saw this stuff on Reddit. A lot of credit to him.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you even see that? Like, how do you even see? Is it just kind of tipped off by somebody like being a loose lip or something? That you said Reddit. It was how did they find this? Was it through code, or was it just kind of tipped off by somebody being a loose lip? Was it through Reddit or?
It to the best of my knowledge, it really was Reddit, and that's why I made that Reddit post thanking. I don't even know what Reddit user it was, man, because the post was taken down to keep the chain safe during the time between disclosure and bringing the chain down. Because there was some interim time, right, between the moment that the post was noticed and verification of the flaw, and the validators being able to bring the chain down. And guys, another pretty serious strong point. I'm fascinated and amazed by how quickly we got the chain down.
Agreed.
If I look at the log of my validator, I do believe that we were among the nodes that actively took it down. And I can say that because I can see that for the last remaining block, the total vote power was 0.79. I don't know if we signed that block or not. And the block height was, I wonder if it's showing the block. I'm actually looking at the screen right now. Yeah, it is. Okay, so the height, the last height that we could have signed is 4,713,049. After that, we were no longer signing. It looks like that block went through because it had a total vote power of 0.79, which means that, yeah, actually Notional was one of the ones that contributed to the shutdown, which is great. I'm really proud of that. The safety over
just on that
liveness
quickly,
thing,
Jacob.
yeah,
It was literally like within the same minute that we were notified that the node needed to be taken down, that we responded and actions were already underway to do that. So that was pretty good from the engineers to be across that and onto it so quickly.
Yeah,
that's incredible, guys. Like, look, that was 9:30 in the morning for us. I was asleep, and guys, Long on our team, guys are virtuoso. It's amazing what he's done for our infrastructure provision division. I'll give you guys a little idea of what Notional's infrastructure division does. We validate, we relay, and we run RPC nodes. All of that stuff is under the purview of Long. And Long is, look, our team is like 20, 21, 22 years old, mainly. Long is one of them. And he's now successfully running more infrastructure than I ever could have. I'm very, very impressed with his work.
Which means they're young and they have a lot of stamina, guys. They have a lot of stamina to be awake and take Red Bulls and deal with these kind of things. I also want to make a real guys. You guys know I wanted really today to give this such bullish announcement and stuff like that, but I'm gonna just drop breadcrumbs for you guys. If you guys start hearing me talk up Notional, I'll tell you guys why in just a couple of, maybe later on today, but in a few days maybe. But I do want to let you, shameless plug right here. Notional, like they said, one of the first ones to catch what happened recently. It's because they actually have it in-house project, guys. Their whole platform, vast majority of it, they actually have people there at all times. So if Jacob's sleeping or if Long's sleeping, they have people there that could wake up at a drop of a dime, or maybe that rotate like a battleship, right? I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know how Jacob.
It's the second one actually.
Okay,
it's rotate like a battleship.
There you go. That's insane.
What we built out around infrastructure provision, because look, what we noticed is that it began with relaying actually and not validating. Okay, the relaying operations that we do for Osmosis, for SIFChain, for Evmos, for Juno, for the Cosmos Hub, these are actually more time consuming by far than our operations as a validator. And, the decision was made to create a 24-hour team that operates in shifts and covers every chat possible. And we're by no means perfect. Like this is actually one of the things that we're working to improve is coverage of chats where IBC complaints can occur. Because IBC errors are scary as hell for users. They're a user's first reaction to an IBC issue is typically, holy shit, my money's gone. They're not wrong for having that reaction, because what actually occurs, okay, is that on the origin chain, a transaction is made that sends your funds to the destination chain. So when a transaction is stuck in the queue, it's left your wallet. There's not really a great way to visualize the queue. MintScan has done big things in making the queue a little bit more visible, but the reality is it's still kind of hard to see and understand. So what we decided to do in order to support, initially it was Osmosis. We're recipients of an Osmosis grant around, basically providing relaying services, and we took that to include supporting relaying, which we could fairly say that supporting relaying and relaying are totally different activities, completely distinct from each other. When you're relaying, you're moving the transactions. In fact, you don't think about them in any individual sense. That's really key to relaying effectively, and also to understanding how the relay protocols work. You're basically being a router, okay? You don't care what's in them, and that's really, really important. Like our relay systems have helped to move IBC packets that are worth, I do believe, literally B with a B, billions of dollars, but that's not how you look at these packets, okay? If we were to look at those packets as financial transactions, we wouldn't be acting like a neutral router. Instead, we look at these packets as like TCP/IP packets. And so the way that we rate our router's performance is just percentage delivery. That's it.
Did I lose you guys?
Oh no,
okay,
I'm still here.
Just make sure sometimes there's that awkward
I concluded just on like, that percentage delivery, percentage delivery is, that's how we rate our performance as a relayer. And that's very important. Like to those of you minnows out there, right? I
we
can
love you
assure
minnows,
you,
by the way. We love you minnows. We really do.
we do love you minnows. We really do. And your packet is as important to us as a packet containing 10,000 atoms, because we don't look at them. We don't care. We're just looking to get as close to 100% as possible.
Yeah. So that, I know I kind of went off topic, guys, and I kind of pivoted because I had to. I have to stress to you guys that may be wondering, why does CryptoTank take such a position? Why do I align myself with certain relayers and validators? Which there's amongst Notional, there are still plenty other ones out there, but it's very important to have these resources to pull from and to delegate to people who are contributing in many. You guys don't even understand how much Notional and their members like Long, Rama, especially Jacob, and everybody in between, really work behind the scenes to catch these things. Could you just imagine if Notional was sleeping, or everybody was sleeping, wasn't aboard the battleship? Imagine if, we didn't catch on Reddit and people were just kind of, I don't want to say that, but out and about doing other things that maybe.
Well, no, actually, that's the reason that we broke the infrastructure team into shifts.
Yep.
Guys, the programmers here don't work in shifts like that. In fact, I tell the programmers, and I mean it, like, guys, every single one of you works more than 40 hours a week. If you ever need to take a month's vacation, give me a day's notice and don't even worry about it.
Ooh, a day's notice.
Yeah. Well, look, like, with infra, frankly, we don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
You know, but with programming, that's its own set of arts and very challenging. And we do have that luxury. Like none of the code commits is actually mission critical in the sense that like delivering somebody's IBC packet is, or signing the next block as a validator. Those things are very, very time sensitive, and so we built a team that operates in shifts and is also distinct from the software engineering team.
Let me ask you something before we go too far into the technicals, because people still do have a lot more concerns and maybe might not fully be comprehending certain things. But to address a question that I saw earlier, I think Striker said this: if Osmosis doesn't come back, what does that mean for the likes of Stars and some of these other protocols that are on the platform and
hey,
kind of
that's a really good question. Look, I spoke to some client of mine today, and I forget which one. Okay, guys, we're working with the SAFE protocol. They're an order book based exchange, and one of their aims is to trade through the liquidity pools on Osmosis. Okay, because if you think about it, this order book based exchange, it will come into being sometime in the next couple of months. Testnet's beginning currently. Okay, so how do you increase the liquidity so that larger trades can occur without crushing the order book? The answer is you can trade through the existing liquidity pools on Osmosis, and we're going to help them to build out that functionality. And what I said to them was, guys, the exact comment was, Osmosis is the chocolatey goo that holds Cosmos together. So, if Osmosis doesn't come back up, well, it would be a world of hurt, okay? Because everybody is dependent on Osmosis, but luckily I can say that Osmosis will come back up. In fact, if the Osmosis team, God bless them, were to be hit by a bus, okay, the bus factor at Osmosis might be 0. What I mean is, myself and others could put the chain back up, and we would.
Well, I think some other people will say here as well. I mean, I do agree. I think, I think it's obviously going to come back up. There's many people that will ensure that it does come back up. So there's that. But there's also, not to take the focus away, but we also, guys, if you guys haven't noticed, the past 6 months have been just a influx of overwhelming different DEXs and AMMs that are in the space. I'm not saying that they are on that level or not on that level, or that can provide what Osmosis has and is providing for this space. But there's many other platforms, so it'll be a hit for sure. It'll definitely be a hit. But I'm about 99% sure that as far as the life of it, it'll be alive. So I'm not too worried about it.
So you're right about this. Just supposing, right, that they're hit by a bus, I'm hit by a bus, and there's nobody left in the world. By the way, there are other validators who have the technical ability to put Osmosis back up. And I want to throw a couple of names out there, okay? Iclusion, Strangelove Ventures, Binary Holdings, and the one affiliated with Bucky's company, which is Informal Systems, and their name is Cephalopod. Okay, those validators could, in the event of unforeseeable chaos, actually bring Osmosis back to life. So any chain in Cosmos that creates a dependency, and I would say that the ecosystem is dependent on Osmosis, even though alternatives could definitely spring up. You're completely correct. What I mean is that, one of the really great parts about the model that we've built out in Cosmos is that, even if the principles, like let's say for the Cosmos Hub, okay? Let's suppose that one day the Interchain Foundation folks and then the Ignite folks, they all fly to the same island, and then Russia decides to nuke that island, right? I gotta tell you, a Cosmos Hub is gonna keep marching because there are a dozen other validators who would know how to put it back into working order. And that might be a kind of unappreciated resilience story, or maybe even not known, right? Like people may not actually know that. You know, look, I calculate so many things by bus factor, and bus factor is a really dark statistic. But you can look it up on Wikipedia. This is like a professional metric.
Yeah.
Okay. Bus factor is like how many people need to die to terminate XYZ technical project. Okay. And the bus factor number for the Cosmos Hub, it's not 0. 0 is the perfect bus factor number, right? Because 0 means that you can kill every single person involved with the project and it'll just keep running, right? And it's not 0, but it's very high. 1 is the worst bus factor number. And the Cosmos Hub has a very high bus factor. So does Osmosis. And this is important to note.
That's good to know. That's definitely good to know. I do think to kind of, I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat here. Grit says, why is there so many dangerous buses? I mean, this is developing technology. I mean, there's always going to be.
Because buses are dangerous, Grit.
Yeah.
Grit's buses are dangerous.
Don't step outside. Wait on the side for your bus, guys. Don't try to jump in front of it. But yeah, that's it's unfortunate.
Yes, please don't jump in front of buses. We don't encourage that.
It's very unfortunate, but it is what it is. I see somebody else asking, and I know you've already been responded to, Synthetic David. But basically, yeah, there was a programming oversight in Osmosis, and somebody or somebodies was able to actually swap in and out of liquidity pools over and over and over again, taking advantage of that and multiplying their bags dramatically.
I'm one of the people you can blame for that.
Well, I was going to ask you that, Jacob. So
no,
I see
legitimately. I validate Osmosis, and I put a huge factor on accountability. Okay. And what that means is that I do read every chain upgrade. And I was on the Cosmos SDK call last week, and an Osmosis issue came up. And I had to say that, guys, I've read V9, but it's the upgrade that I'm least in touch with, and that's because of the Terra chaos. I'm really sorry. And I think that you'd probably get similar feedback from a number of other large and highly technical validators.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you think other people felt the same way as validators? Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
There was legit burnout. Guys, Osmosis V8 was it's really good that thing worked, guys. Look, there was a team of people who built Osmosis V8, and I wasn't on it. Okay, I was instead on the team of people who reviewed Osmosis V8 after another group built it. Okay, and we had a 3-hour-long call with Dave. And guys, look, situation be what it may, I consider Dave from the Osmosis team to be probably the most skilled Cosmos SDK developer in this space. He'd never admit this because he's a really humble and wonderful human being. But he's really fantastic, and he's also a very good teacher.
Could I stop you right there and kind of just for the sake of everybody else, because I think this is probably a question that a lot of people wonder about. To kind of just a little bit rewind back, could you explain to us what the typical process is for any kind of upgrade that happens on as far as a validator, especially as somebody that contributes code or whatnot to the level that you do, typically, because there's a lot of pointing fingers when things like this happen on crypto Twitter. Everybody's, oh, it's the validators, it's the team, this is your fault. And I agree, guys, there is, and like Jacob is saying, there is some responsibility to take. But typically, what is the breakdown of how things usually flow when things like this happen? Or
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go through a normal upgrade. I'll also go through this one. All right, in a normal upgrade, in fact, every single Osmosis upgrade up until V9, I've had a personal hand in it. Initially, this was small stuff, and it was Dave who kind of brought me in, and whew, I mean, look, like I'm able to say, oh, Jack Zamplin taught me IBC. He did. Okay. And Dave filled in all the rest of the murky details of 1,000 things. Okay. So I can't say exactly what Dave taught me, but he taught me a hell of a lot. And guys, just so you know, I'm talking about Valar Dragon. His name is spelled D-E-V, and it's pronounced Dave. So what can I say? He's been my primary mentor, and you learn Cosmos mainly through mentors. It is not an easy software stack. It's really not. I am now a mentor. If you're looking to learn, I'm very, very happy to help you. But that doesn't mean I've stopped learning either. Okay, just because I'm now qualified to teach does not mean that that I have stopped learning or that I know everything.
The tech evolves, right? So that means you have to always learn and evolve with it, right?
Yeah, well, to take it a step further, though, there are a lot of specialists working on the Cosmos stack, okay? Just for example, I mean, one team that I have had some touch points with that I don't think gets enough credit is the maintenance team on Tendermint itself, the consensus engine. They're actually not very visible because changes in the SDK, they bubble up faster, okay? Tendermint changes bubble up into reality much slower, and their duty, you should see some of our conversations, and they're all actually public on issues on the Tendermint repository. Their duty is to make sure that that thing remains stable. And they really do a good job of it. And I have nothing but appreciation there. Okay, so let's go back to software upgrades. When you want to upgrade a chain, it's the validator's job to review the code for the upgrade. And usually that takes the form of a diff. I'll explain what a diff is real quick.
Okay.
A diff is the difference between two branches, okay? So like for the V8 to V9 upgrade for Osmosis, you can use this command. It's called git diff. If you're in the V9 branch, right, you can do like git diff period and then specify the branch for V8, and it'll show you every single code change, okay? And it's the validator's job, every single validator's job, to check that thing out. But guys, I said that I'm, if you want to blame somebody, feel free to blame me. And why do I say that? Well, Notional's paid to work on Osmosis. And, that is something that we should have caught. Apparently, this issue was visible in testnet. And Billy the Brit has just departed, but were he here, I would ask him to tell you guys about the testing protocol that I'm actually building for him to use, which will the goal there is to give him a set of tools to detect a problem like this one in testnet before it hits mainnet. And the reason it's him testing this is that, guys, and this I think is an underappreciated fact, we have automated tests, the American expression would be up the wazoo, or up the ass, or what have you. Okay, we have a lot of automated tests, really. And this one was not caught by one of them. It is, in my opinion, not possible to achieve 100% test coverage. And we can get really close, guys. We could probably get into the 90s. And I'm going to actually be working with Kang and Vuong and Ving from Notional to try to see what the low-hanging fruit is like for tests on Osmosis. But, you know, basically, there's a suite of manual actions that can be taken against testnet that might have been able to detect this.
You know, while you're speaking of it, I can't help but think, Jacob, and again, guys, I know this is going to seem like I'm just plugging away and stuff like that, but it really does. All of this is really learning, really great learning examples. Unfortunately, they're painful learning ones, but usually the ones that are painful are the ones that stick with you and you really learn a lot from. But I can't help but think how many other validators are out there with that kind of dedication and that kind of commitment to run these kind of parameters and procedures early to kind of see these kind of, how many validators are actually proactively taking measures to ensure the safety of upgrades. That's like, it's a very, I'm not, there's, like you said, and I've said it many times, there's many different great validators out there, but I wonder.
Let's talk about capabilities for a second. The ones that I know are capable would include iClusion, and that's like Zaki Manian's team. But it's certainly not only Zaki, and he wouldn't want me to ever say it's only Zaki. Like he has a wonderful team. And then there's there's also Binary Holdings. Binary Holdings is run by Marco, and I'm going to try to pronounce his last name, Brakojevic.
I can never do it.
Yeah,
I don't even try.
I'm going to learn it. I'm going to learn it because I've been working more and more with him. Okay, and he's the current manager of the SDK code base. There's Strangelove Ventures. There's Joe Abbey. There's let's think. Blockpain. Blockpain can do this stuff. Blockpain is amazing with OPSEC. Blockpain has blown my mind on more occasions than I can count. And if the audience is wondering, is Jacob endorsing these teams? The answer is yes. And one more that I'm going to throw in there actually is Cephalopod Systems from Informal Systems. Yeah. These are all teams that I'm aware can end-to-end these issues. But in addition to that, okay, on a specialized basis, I suspect that there are several more that are capable of doing the necessary audits. Say for Osmosis specifically.
My point is, and I agree with you. I love all of these devs, like these guys. He's naming off not just validators, but you guys got to understand these are guys that have been working in our space for quite a while, and they have been working on many different things. But and again, I'm not throwing out. I know that people want to hear this, and they ask these questions. I hear them all the time. For Osmosis, we have 135.
Yeah, on Osmosis,
it's a handful. And then how many other validators do we have that? I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I would implore or request or just beg for more active or proactive stances from our validators. Like I get it. It's a business, you know, I'm a businessman and whatnot, but I feel like, and you've said this many times, that there is a certain duty or a certain level of commitment when it comes to, you know, being a validator, relayer, or in the position that you guys and Notional and some others are in. And, you know, if we had 135 active participants looking at the code, so I know you want to blame yourself, and maybe 12 other great people that have infrastructure.
You know what? Eyes on the code is incredibly important.
And that's what I'm trying to get at. Like,
it really is. And you know, to take this a step further, look, in my opinion, some of the most active validators are found in Osmosis's init.go file, because there's kind of been a call out for a long time for validators to contribute seeds to that file, and it's unfortunately very few that have done that. That's that, you know, presence in that file means that, you know, a validator is taking the time to provide seeds to the network, which there's no profit model on that. You won't make money on it. Except maybe by delegation, right? But like, actually what that file did is it putting the seeds in Osmosis's init.go file made Osmosis dramatically easier to run, because you don't need to find the seeds anymore. They're already there.
It's there, yeah.
Yeah. You know, and I supported for a long time while I was at Tendermint, I think a little bit beforehand and after as well, kind of like ops and config for Gaia. At one point, I rewrote her README file and just tried to make her as easy to set up as possible. And feel like I made a lot of progress there. But honestly, compared to the tweaks that I made to Gaia, what we did with Osmosis was really much better. We were able to, you know, embed the seeds in Osmosis so that nobody would ever need to look for them again. With Gaia, I just helped with the configuration of the seeds. We took it a step further in Osmosis.
Right. And I do, you know, obviously I've been trying to keep my eyes out on activity. I preach it all the time here, as far as, you know, who do people validate to, or delegate to, who do you trust, you know, to help out on the things that you are investing into. And there is far too many to keep tabs on every one of them. But I do agree, Osmosis has very much so had an increase, but I just can't help but to think, you know, or at least request. I mean, this is my public request. You know, I'm here. I've already aligned myself or whatnot, but there's many different great validators out there. Like, don't just be piggybacking off the few, please. Like, I'll just say it, roast me if you guys want to, but I'm in the trenches. I'm in the mud with everybody else. I'm in the foxholes with the community. And I know, and I get their concerns and their sentiment. Like, this was what happened with Osmosis. An oversight. I mean, and it's horrible to say that, but it was an oversight in testing and overseeing, you know, this possible situation happening when they did the update. And it definitely could have been prevented, like you said, and I commend you for, you know, taking your responsibility in the matter. But, you know, how silent the silence is deafening, and sometimes people, I will say, do get very annoyed with the deafening silence that is out there coming from a lot of these people who are validators.
I mean, every validator, in my opinion, is at fault here, and that doesn't really matter. It's regardless of their particular role. Look, pretty much every validator that's validating Osmosis has earned their position in some way, shape, or form.
I agree. I agree.
But I guess, you know, what I'm trying to say here is that regardless of whether, I'll give you an example, okay? Cryptocito, his validator has traditionally not contributed code, and like he has been searching for an engineer who can actually actively contribute code. I've been helping him to find that person, by the way, because I'm very enthusiastic about Cryptocito's work, like on an overall basis.
I wouldn't even be here, guys.
think
Like straight up honesty, I wouldn't even be here. The people, my inner circle knows I pretty much started this YouTube channel because like I wanted to run parallel with Cryptocito and also help get out the information. So I agree. I'm super excited about what he's done and what he's done in the past too. So
that's really awesome to hear. And you know, another thing is that I don't think you're the only person who can say that. I feel like
I hope
there are
not. He's done
of
a lot of work.
Exactly. And so look, I encourage validators to code bigly, right? But people ask me, well, Jacob, do validators need to code? And I'm like, guys, you know, Cryptocito's validator, they've not contributed any code, and they've done amazing things for Cosmos, and I endorse them, and I think they're great. But you know, honestly, I don't know if I would have made that endorsement till I started to see their job ads. Okay. Now that he's actively looking for somebody to make open source software contributions to Cosmos, he's a perfect example of a validator starting up without coding, and then coming into, you know, the contributing fold.
Right, and I understand that. There's only so much. I think you've said it many times, and I think we probably covered it in here. Like to find that help of that quality as well. Although there's many, but they're few and far between.
I mean, this is why I'm excited about bringing you into Notional, man.
Yeah. I'm super excited too.
Like this is a really big deal to me because guys, like,
I guess should we pivot, Jacob? Should we pivot and kind of talk about that a little bit?
I'd be really happy to. I guess I'm not really so much big on illusions, right? Not ILL, but ALL.
Yeah.
And I'd love to just tell people a little bit about what we discussed last night.
Yeah.
Which is just hours before I got on the. Remember how you and I got off the phone and I said I was going to bed?
Yeah.
Well, what actually happened is Hathor nodes, they were having an issue with their Osmo node, and I was like, hey guys, you know, I'm happy to help you one-on-one. Let's just hop on a Google Meet call, see if we can resolve this. We did get it resolved. And he got back up and running, and I think he was the one who flagged this, actually.
Thank gosh you guys were on that call, and he was having his issue at that time.
Yeah, it's weird how things happen, but I'm just glad it worked out that way.
Well, I'm sorry you didn't get as much sleep as you. I'm sorry, but I'm grateful that you didn't get as much sleep as you wanted to. I guess, yeah, we'll kind of pivot real quickly, guys. Before we do, I guess I do want to kind of wrap up the conversation with Osmosis before we go into, what we are working on or what our goals are as a channel and also with Notional. It's the Osmosis issue. There is a fix. It is being tested at the moment. Correct me if I'm wrong, right, Jacob? And is there an expected time for it to maybe come back up?
I've actually run so first of all, there was a bug. Okay. But then secondly, the code that contained the bug wasn't covered by unit tests. And so, you know, obviously unit tests were written to check that code. And I've personally run those unit tests, and where we're standing is that my personal recommendation is to cut a new release containing only those changes. There are other changes to V9 that may be needed, but I think that the new release should contain only the bug fix, and anything else should be like a new point release. We call non-state breaking changes point releases. That's when a change is not going to require every validator to upgrade their node, because it doesn't change the way that the nodes agree with each other. So the current status is like, yes, a patch has been written. Yes, there have been tests written against that patch. And yes, I'm ready to jump into battle to get that deployed to testnet and then test testnet. Once that's done, we could deploy that code to mainnet. But look, it's my understanding that, how do I put this? Attacker wallets maybe subject to modifications. And keep in mind, this is me speaking as a validator. I'm not speaking as a member of the Osmosis team. I'm speaking entirely in my role as a validator.
Okay. Interesting. So is there with all of that, is there a, for layman's terms for the rest of the people, is there like is it maybe later on today, tomorrow, or is there like a time frame that you expect maybe all this to happen?
I prefer a longer time frame.
Okay.
So in my preference, if we were to say right now, I would prefer to see Osmosis stay down for at least another 24 hours. The reason being is that somewhat luckily, you can say it's a privilege to have been around for this many blockchain disasters. Okay,
I find it as a
Juno
privilege.
whale. Yeah, I mean, I really do. I've got to learn from the Juno whale stuff. I've got to learn from the contract 184 on Juno, which took it down. I got to learn from the Terra incident, and
Good gosh, how many have there been?
At the risk of being, at the risk of being too risque, I really like the Terra engineering team. I mean that completely, literally, flatly. I realize that all kinds of crazy shit might have happened there. But like, as individuals and as engineers, they're always going to have my full respect. Reason being that they have contributed massively to improvements in the performance of underlying database libraries that I personally think otherwise, we just wouldn't have improved them. And I'm really glad to see those improvements happen.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm totally fine with that. I don't know if you guys are all going to freak out about that either, but guys, sometimes you just got to sit on your hands and be patient. I mean, it is what it is. I full disclosure, you guys know I have not all of my capital, but I have some money sitting on the exchange. Luckily, I glanced. I don't know if it's a true representation. I was in one of the pools, but it is what it is, and we'll see the team fix everything, guys. So that's what happened with Osmosis. I'm gonna pivot right now because I know we've been speaking for about an hour and a half, maybe around there, an hour or so. And just to kind of let you guys know, with everything that we've been saying, what I am doing with Notional, and I can't speak, excuse me, got something in my glasses or in my eye there. I can't speak entirely about it yet because, to be fairly honest with you guys, every wrinkle has not been totally ironed out. But what I've decided and agreed upon with Jacob is I am going to go ham, per se, to use terms, and promoting Notional and what they do in our ecosystem. I have said it many times. I think that they are extremely undervalued within the space for the service that they provide. And you guys can see what happened just recently today. I'm not saying that they were the only ones, because it is a combination of effort from different people within our space. But I do see tremendous value with Notional, their team there, what they do, how they contribute, and how they actually operate their business and their nodes, guys. You guys know Jacob has started the Bare Metal Alliance. I highly I would prefer people run bare metal nodes. There's many different benefits from that, and I've been saying it for a long time. But to go short, guys, I've spoken with Jacob, and we have come to an agreement that there will be certain benefits in the future if you guys want to support the same ideals, the same mindset that I have. And you guys know my values here. I'm very transparent. I'm for the people. I want this space and anything that I say to be more beneficial for you guys that are in the Cosmos ecosystem, that are part of the IBC gang at all times. If you guys want to support the venture that I'm partaking in with Jacob and Notional, and help out in that way, you guys can do so by, and again, it's up to you guys, but delegate to Notional, put in your memo, Crypto Tank, and yeah, there will be a benefit because I am working on a project, and also I'll be, did Rama fall asleep? Rama, did you fall asleep?
I'm still here.
Okay, I feel like Rama's probably sleeping. It's 1 o'clock for him or something.
Yeah, 1:30.
But luckily for me, I have many individuals, great individuals within Jacob and Notional's team and his inner circle and outer circle, because basically Jacob touches every circle therefore in, that I can pull from, that I'm working on a project about, that I think will be groundbreaking for you guys in the future. And one of the ways, of course, maybe this is a little bit of alpha, that you guys could be in early is by, if you do delegate or choose to delegate or support Notional, make sure to put in the memo Crypto Tank. That's all you need to do. And or just, you don't absolutely have to. We have parameters to figure it out anyway. But if you guys would start supporting people who actually really, I'm not saying, again, so hard, I'm not saying these others don't, but support validators that actually contribute, like, entirely, and are in, like I always tell you guys, in the mud, in the trenches with you guys, and have an interest to see things succeed and not just be here feeding off you and what you do. So that is what we're doing. Jacob, I don't know, or Rama, I don't know if you guys want to speak a little bit more into that.
You know, like I think that's a really good, description of what we talked about. And I'll maybe jump into it just teensy a little bit. Mm-hmm. Basically, guys, Crypto Tank, he was willing to deal with one of the realities of being a validator, which is that, stuff is legitimately unclear. And so what we decided to do is have kind of 2 touch points, one a month in. So it's like, about 30 days from my yesterday. And then another 2 months in, about 60 days from my yesterday. And we're going to kind of review, Notional's delegations and standing and everything else. And we also decided to start work on, oh God, do you mind if I share a little bit about it, Crypto Tank?
That's totally fine. Totally fine.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, cool. We also decided to start looking into very seriously at a project that is, interestingly, look, it's really near and dear to my heart and also to his. One of the things that he mentioned was kind of on his pathway to success, is that as a trader, he no longer needs to work 40 hours a week at a desk job. And guys, as an engineer, I, to the greatest extent possible, removed the need to trade from my critical path, because trading is really time consuming. And, at Notional, look, I'm going to credit you guys, the community, because that's really the source of our delegations. So when I talk about our success, it's the Cosmos community that deserves credit for that. And so he has this concept, which is so similar to how we wanted to develop some suite of internal management tools that allows for the trading of our crypto assets. And so basically, like, we're talking about is either a contract or a chain, and we don't know which yet. But it's a tool that's going to allow, users that choose to invest in it to benefit from the experience of professional traders. And I can't stress how important I really do think that this is. Retail suffers a lot of disadvantages in the market. Even, guys, I'll say that as I've removed active trading from my own suite of activities, and I will openly say I do some trading still. And I'm not half bad at it either. But, for me, honestly, less of it that I do, the more engineering that I can do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're somebody whose income is coming from, your job, which frankly, I count myself among those people. I basically, what's a Jacob in terms of Jacob's profession? Well, Jacob's gotten real lucky. Jacob was in the right place at the right time. When I left Tendermint, Osmosis was just booting up, and I literally got an invitation from the founding team. Hey, come and validate, check this thing out. One of my wallets was in Genesis, okay? And that's literally, I can't stress this enough, this is literally the notional founding story, okay? It is the wallet that Tendermint, the company, paid me out of. And that blossomed and grew in ways that I could never have predicted. So, for those of us who are, and I assure you, currently, my work is, time bound. Working in that way, trading it's kind of time prohibitive because it does take a lot of time to trade. And so that's kind of the product concept. But what we don't want to do is make any product promises to you around exactly what that is, because as I explained to Crypto Tank last night, it's actually a pretty technically aggressive product.
Yeah. Whether
it's implemented as a chain or as a contract, it'll do a number of things that are genuinely new. Also don't necessarily want to make any promises about, delegations resulting in Genesis slots. It's possible that they could, but I don't want to make hard promises there. In fact, it's just generally our policy not to. But what we discussed last night is something I really feel passionate about and really want to push forward. So I think that's where I stand.
Agreed. And I don't want to just echo that one more time, guys. I'm basically working on with Jacob an idea to address the two big problems that I see across the board. And it's nothing that you guys don't already know, but it's something that people don't actually want to fully admit to or address in their own portfolio for themselves. I get asked, and again, I'll just kind of really quickly, I get asked all the time, how should I invest? What should I invest in? Or why do I invest in certain things? Or basically the real question that really got me thinking about all this is obviously a lot of people would ask me all the time, like, how can somebody with a small portfolio, $500 to $1,000, really compound and make a difference in their life, by investing that small amount? And it may have came from, I said it many times before, I've flipped throughout these past months, even throughout this downturn on Osmosis, weirdly enough, speaking about it, $500 to $10,000 several times, and it can be done. But what is prohibiting a lot of people from actually doing it? If we're being honest, guys, if we're being absolutely honest, it is either they don't have time, which is absolutely okay, because not a lot of people are in the position that I'm in, or many others that are in, that can sit here and watch things. You guys got a 9-to-5 job, so you can't be making these trades, especially because there's no limit orders in and out on some of these very bullish protocols that sees so much upside potential. And then there's two, the real problem is people are unwilling to actually do the homework on what they're investing into. They either see a trend and they jump all into it. I mean, the prime examples are Shiba Inu and Dogecoin. Look at them. They're on the top 10 or what, 10, top 20, 15. And it's a shame. It is a, I'll say it. Maybe if you guys are having, that's a crying shame that the means of Cosmos, I'll say some other ones out there. I'm not a blind maxi, and I have blinders on. Dot, AVAX, things that actually have a lot more utility, a lot more potential, things are actually working on things, are not dwarfing those two meme coins. People see trends and they just jump in. They don't want to do the homework. And that is the sad fact. You might say that you do homework. I promise you, you don't do enough homework. And that is, I'm not putting you guys down, but that's,
you know, and this is very true. Yeah. And he gave good examples. I missed a slot in the AVAX presale. I won't get into exactly how I missed that, but like, guys, had I gotten into that, you know, it would have been an enormous gain. And frankly, the only reason I had any interest in the AVAX presale is that, you know, I knew that there had been a lot of fundamental R&D going on. Mm-hmm. And how did I know that? Guys, I've met Emin Gunschreier twice. Mm-hmm. And the guy is a freaking genius. And, you know, the Avalanche white paper, I've read it. Technically, that was released anonymously, but, you know, he chose to implement it. Mm-hmm. I really do think that the way that it causes agreement is a powerhouse. Mm-hmm. And he's also right to mention Dot. Look, I'll give Dot shit all day for the things I want to give Dot shit about, specifically the so-called slot auctions, okay? But the other side of that coin is that there's very serious R&D going on there. Mm-hmm. And that's, you know, that's not occurring in a dog coin.
Yeah, you guys don't know the research and development that's happening because you guys don't have time, and it's not your fault. It's just, it is what it is. But that's the real reason. That's the real issues that people need to address. And being in the position that I'm in, I have had a lot of time to kind of reflect on these questions that I get asked, and I take your guys' concerns and questions seriously. It's near and dear to my heart because, you know, yes, there's a little bit of luck in coming up. Sometimes there's actually a lot of it, but you know, I want to, just like I've said by starting this channel, I want to try to do my best to be transparent and help the people at all times. So I'm working on something after reflecting on how I've come up in my 20 plus years of being an investor in the markets and the things that I could relate and correlate back to the crypto market from the traditional market, because nobody likes to do that correlation. But guys, the game is the game, and it's not, I've told you guys, the money in the game doesn't change just because you put a new label on it. Financial games are the same in every market, guys. Don't kid yourself about that.
No.
So I'm taking the best things that I've ever had as being an early realtor and making real estate investments. If you guys don't know, I've said it many times, I've gotten a really good start earlier on in my career from investing into property. What else can we invest into? Digital property, that is crypto, right? We use that analogy all the time. So there's that. And then I thought about two other things that have actually happened in my life that I partook in that really changed my trajectory in my financial future, in the position that I'm at right now, and why I can do what I do. And to be honest with you guys, you guys might grit your teeth a little bit, but it was getting into things like, I don't have VC money, but I partook in things like VCs. You guys probably don't know what private equity funds are, but I took part in things like that. And that dramatically set me apart from struggling in a 9-to-5 day job to being able to be an investor and not be emotionally attached to these downtrends right now. I wake up, have a sip of coffee, and it's the same sip of coffee.
A mentor of mine is an operator of a PE firm in Buffalo, New York. Guy's name is Sam Russo, and I just, you know, an incredibly talented individual who, while we were operating the Bitcoin mining business, Drone Energy, taught me, it's really hard to put into a sentence how much this person taught me about finance and about how to operate and about how to look at a balance sheet and about how to evaluate a company and about how to be dispassionate and you know how valuable that was to our tiny little Bitcoin mine.
Yep. And so to kind of wrap it up, because I could go on and on and on, but I don't want to release too many things too much, because again, all the wrinkles and be honest with you guys, all the fine details are not ironed out just yet, or even set on the table for that matter in its entirety. But I am working on taking all the best pieces that have propelled me forward from the traditional market and applying it with the tools that we have at our disposal right now within the Cosmos ecosystem. Guys, right now, you know, with Osmosis being what I believe it's what it's going to be in the future, and I still believe it. I honestly still believe it. And also on the flip side, with all the tools that we have with Juno, DAO, DAO Up, Juno tools, and the likes, there are many, many different ways that we can implement all the best things that have actually worked for me and all of my, I'm not tooting my horn or flexing on you guys, millionaire and billionaire friends. Yes, I do have them. But I want you guys to be able to be invited to this table and eat at the same time.
You should flex a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the people that, it's weird. All right.
Yeah.
I've done business wrong. Okay. And when you do that wrong, guys, the market punishes you like to an insane degree. And CryptoTank, I assume you've made some wrong calls, right?
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, and like, and I bet the punishment was swift, right?
It was brutal. It was always brutal.
Yeah, and basically, like, guys, you know, making the best way to say it is that you learn from these painful mistakes.
Yeah.
And also, when you're getting things approximately right, the market is also as brutal as it can be. When you're getting stuff approximately right, the market is incredibly rewarding. And you know what CryptoTank shared with me last night was kind of a design where he can give his knowledge back to the community, and other highly skilled individuals and traders can do the same. I loved the concept, and you know, I'm just delighted to pursue that
Yep.
quest with him.
Yeah, but every community member, I just want to caveat, I'm not going to put all the details out there right now. Matter of fact, we'll probably shut it down because I feel like we're going down too much of a rabbit hole. We'll be in control always. That's near and dear to my heart. The governance and the ability to control things is very much near and dear to my heart. So yeah, if you guys know me, you guys already know my stance on a lot of things, but that's basically what we're hinting at. That's what we're working on. There are going to be things that I'm working for. Yes, there is NFTs in the works, and yeah, just be on the lookout for it, guys. I think we've covered a lot of things, Jacob. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I think so too. And you know, the final thing that I'd like to go over is to echo your sentiment on Osmosis. Right now, Osmosis is down, and like there was a chain fault in Tendermint and Cosmos. This is actually the design. This is what we're supposed to do. And also, we're going to get the thing back up. I want to thank everybody for listening very, very much. CryptoTank, I'd like to thank you for initiating the conversation we had last night. And Rama, I'd like to thank you for being on here so late, and also ask you if there's anything you'd like to share before we hop off.
No. I think we've covered it all in a good level of detail. I think these things happen. We've got to remember that crypto is still primarily quite experimental, and the teams do their best they can. We're always going to have kind of bugs and faults. Every chain has them, and the good chains will come out the other side better and stronger, and implement process so they don't happen again. And as we've seen with Juno, I'm sure Osmo will be no different. Teams will fix it, get it back up and running, and it will be stronger than ever.
I agree. And again, guys, thank you. I know the time difference is a lot for you guys, especially you, Rama. Get some sleep, guys. You guys have been working really, really hard. I appreciate you guys. Guys, if you guys appreciate this content, please don't forget, like the video, subscribe, hit that little bell notification, let your mama, auntie, sister, brother know, and then people that you don't like as well. to know, because it's beneficial for everybody to learn what's happening here, guys. But with that, we're going to get out of here, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully we got better stuff to talk about tomorrow. Peace.